Twitter is one of the largest social media platforms with 36 million daily active users, and it allows individuals to post messages, interact with content, and communicate with other users. However, if you use Twitter for a business or are trying to grow an audience, it can be incredibly useful to automate some of the processes on Twitter to increase efficiency and productivity. While thankfully using the Twitter API, we can achieve just that. Today I'll show you how to gain access to this API, how to activate it, and then we'll showcase how to use some of the methods within the API to direct message other users within Python. To gain access to the Twitter API, you first need to apply for it. First, open your internet browser and type in Twitter API, and it should be one of the first few links. When you click sign up, you just need to be signed into Twitter, have a valid phone number associated with the account, verify the email, and provide a reason for why you're signing up for the API. Then go into developer settings and apply for the elevated access. You'll need this to be able to execute the code in this video without an error. However, gaining access to these permissions is essentially automatic, and it doesn't take long, so it's very easy to get approved. Now that you have the correct tier of developer access, click here to set up a project. Once you set up a project, you can generate the access and secret tokens. Make sure to keep these private and copy these codes into another file because you will need them for your code. Now you also need to install the Twitter API, known as Tweepy, on your system as well. The easiest method in my opinion is using pip. Since I am using a Windows terminal, I will just type in pip install Tweepy and click enter. Getting to the program itself, I will now open up PyCharm, and you can use whichever IDE you utilize to code in Python. You want to first import the Tweepy API in the top line of your program. Afterwards, you need to input the keys that I mentioned earlier in 4 variables. The way you do this is standard, so you can just copy the syntax that I'm utilizing here and change the password to the ones that were generated for you. What we are doing in these lines is creating a Twitter object called auth and then storing in a variable called API so that we can use this variable to interact with the object using different methods from the API. Afterwards, we can now dive into the code. Let's first receive an input from the users to store the Twitter username of the account they want to contact in a variable called username. However, this username is not how the Twitter API interprets account names. Instead, it has screen names associated with each Twitter username. Therefore, for the API to get the screen name, we use the get_user method. We also need to ask the user what message they want to write to his Twitter account. However, let's say you're sending the same message to multiple people, you can just set a default message to this variable and not get an input. Now we need to implement a try except statement for the actual direct message part. The reason for this is that some users have privacy settings configured in a way that only allow users they are following to message them. If the program tries messaging one of these users, then it will result in an error. In the try statement, we use this statement to send the direct message and pass the ID based on the screen name and the text as arguments. Then we break the statement. In the except statement, we make an exception for the error that could occur and print a statement explaining why the direct message cannot be sent. We also put a break in this to prevent the program from looping. Now let's run the program once. For the user, I'm just going to input the Twitter account Drizzy, and then let's make the message hi. Now the code compiles correctly. We can check that it worked by heading over to Twitter and seeing that it was indeed sent.